This is pretty subjective, but something about the live action scenes in this game just always felt super weird and kind of uncanny and almost liminal to me. Like, most of them are pretty funny, but then some just come off as a bit odd. I don't know, maybe something about the intentionally poor quality of them, and the fact that Hypnospace Outlaw is, as I've heard described before, this world but moved 10 inches to the left, and it is strange because, like, when you see these parts, which are few in between, it does kind of really feel like, in a way, that you're looking into, like, an actual alternate universe. And the one that does it for me the most is definitely the scene during the mine crash when the protagonist wakes up and you kind of see a glimpse of their room and like the weird blinds and stuff. There's just something about that part that looks really weird, and it's not like viewed from like a camera like filming people for like filming and interviews and acting, and no, it's like actually through like the character's eyes, which I guess like kind of adds to the weirdness of it, because like the protagonist in this game, like, I mean, it's you, but it's not you, it's a separate person. Like, I don't know, it's just such a weird feeling seeing this. So, as you know, at the end of the game, Dylan confesses for everything and feels sorry about what he did, and you got all this evidence to show the truth and prove that Tim was innocent, etc. However, we really don't hear a follow-up of what exactly happens to all of that afterwards. It's just archiving the hypnospace if you continue to play after that. We don't know, because Dylan only confessed to this dead old user interface sleep thing that only a few people are on at the moment and are just there for like nostalgia and archiving it. Who's to say if Dylan actually like went out and like confessed to like an actual like in-person thing and made like an announcement on it in the real world, and Samantha with her evidence, like I guess she could have like submit all of that, but at the same time it's like, are they going to take that as like real proof? And it was something that happened so long ago. Like a more single take is like, are any authorities like really going to give a shit anymore? And, like, is Dylan actually going to get anything for this? Is Adrian going to get anything for this, who we don't hear about anymore afterwards? It's just all up in the air. This is something that's going to be kind of hard to explain, because it's just something that you kind of have to, like, feel and get an aura of to understand. And this goes for both versions of Tim that you see throughout the time periods. Tim, when you see him in active hypnospace, like, you could describe him as like a cynic and a misanthropist, albeit one that seems to still care about like lesser, more unfortunate people, since, you know, he mainly seems to just like kind of hates like more annoying people, I guess you could put it that way, and I don't know, he likes Tiff and shit, so yeah. Anyway, that's a pretty like no hardcore single thing to have as a 16-year-old, and I don't know, it just kind of like makes you seem like he probably hasn't had like that great of an in-person life and probably has been exposed to a lot of like corruption and abuse and shit. I don't know, it's just kind of generally vibes that I get that kind of like morphs like a teenager into that kind of shit. And considering how easily he got sent to jail and him saying how tough things were after coming out, like, it just kind of makes you guess that his parents don't really give a shit probably about what's going on with him. So yeah, it's troubling thoughts for a teenager at that developmental age, and I don't know, it just gives me vibes of him like really just kind of being like a more hopeless person at life, and that goes even for afterwards, where like he's saying how he's like a completely changed person and has a family now and stuff, but I don't know, there's still something about him at that time that still just gives off like a depressing aura. Like, I mean, obviously he has to fucking be messed up after wrongfully being put into a US jail for 6 years, and during like his teenage and young adult years, so it's like the worst time you could probably be in one. And yeah, like, despite him claiming to kind of be happy, like, there's just still this like sort of like depressive aura that like it's just like, yeah, he's just making do with the best he has, and like even if he is like seemingly doing good inside, there's still that depression festering and just making things a lot more hollow and misery. This is the music that's the old-timing marching band. It's, you know, the public old domain song that plays in Good Time Valley during the freaking Gumshoe Gooper campaign stuff. And I mean, all that stupidity aside, the song itself to me always just felt unnerving and weird. The whole thing, again, kind of like what I said, the live action scenes, it has this like purposely poor quality to it, but it's just kind of slow, and there's a part specifically in it that does it that is like offbeat and kind of like pauses longer than it should and it's broken up. It's mainly that part when you hear it, and I guess just also on top of like how old the music itself is. I don't know, it just sounds like kind of unnerving. I guess I just always had like a certain tick to things happening like that in music, but I know it's not a lone thing because it kind of reminds me of how To Talk a Song paces out, and a lot of other people say that song is unnerving for the same reasons, so yeah. As you all know, the big crash happened, and that's what ultimately killed Hypnospace. However, there's already a lot of hints to look into and both think outside of to consider that Hypnospace was already going down the hill and was mostly just a fad that wouldn't really last much longer. I mean, one isn't through the emails and kind of like their desperation to have this big new hip thing and throw cool punk fest and stuff to try to get everybody's attention. But another thing is that after the mine crash, it says around 60,000 headbands were discontinued and recalled. That's not a lot. I mean, I'm probably not like every single headband that's out there, probably not. But that's still not a lot. Even if there are 1 million Hypnospace users, that's still not a lot. Why? Because in 1999, the year this game takes place, there were already up to 150 million users of the regular internet in the world. Yeah, that's an absolutely way huger number. And, like, you already see people, like, complaining, as said, like, how Hypnospace makes them feel weird and tired and all that, and that definitely would have affected it, like, if the mine crash even never happened. That probably would have surfaced a lot higher, and it just seems to imply that people in the real world, the real world of Hypnospace, don't like it for those reasons and just find the regular internet to be more convenient and better anyways. So yeah, Adrian, that idiot, was screwed from the start. This is something that is kind of clearly there, but you don't really like have the realization until you stop and think about it for a moment, especially since a lot of it's played for laughs, granted not a lot of it. So there's the obvious one, the saying how we all know that his life at home kind of sucks, and, you know, there's that guy that his mom dates who's shit, and they're in poverty, and yeah, it's all kind of fucking unfortunate. And then there's also the hackers where Satan has to deal with them, and bullying and shit like that, and, you know, we also talk about Corey, we talk trash about him, but he's ultimately a victim of bullying too. And, you know, there's the bee kid complaining about Steve, I think that other one's name was, who had to deal with him, like, putting bees in his house. Like, that's funny, but at the same time, that's kind of like, holy shit. And then, like, there's other ones, such as, like, really, really sad, even if it is kind of played for laughs, is that the worm kid mentions real casually how their stepdad would not fucking let them off the house that month. That is, what the fuck? Like, that's horrible. Then there's other things, such as other kids on Teentopia who are reaching out to Counselor Ronnie for genuine help, and Counselor Ronnie is obviously just one of the hackers, as you learn near the end of the game. However, stuff is so incompetently handled, and they ultimately end up feeling bad enough for these kids that they kind of, like, drop just it being a joke and double as, like, taking it seriously and actually try to reach out and give some other help to the kids asking for it. So, I mean, at least there's that slightly nice thing, even if it's still no good. Anyway, next up, we're going to the